This Corecon training video covers the company settings that are usually addressed when you first log into your subscription for the first time. These company settings are usually administered and edited by your company's Corecon administrator. To see these features from your home view, go to Global Settings and then click on Settings Home. Some of the settings that we'll address in this video are summarized on the Settings Home view. Next, go to the Company Settings option. The subjects, cost codes, and taxation are covered in a separate training video. Under Company Settings, click Profile. If you've just logged in for the first time, some of the information on this view may already be entered for you. There is also a separate training video on setting up and uploading your logo, so we'll skip that for now. But the rest of the information, for the most part, may be filled in for you. We encourage you to edit and correct any of the information as needed. If your company name is not set up correctly, we encourage you to email techsupport@corecon.com and ask for a change. That is a locked field. In the profile, you'll also want to select the closest company type to what your type of work does. This does affect some of the field labels in other features and modules in Corecon. I've selected GC for General Contractor, but there's also settings for subcontractors, remodelers, design build firms, home builders, and so on. The number of employees, annual revenue, and other information gathered helps to determine what features and modules Corecon's development team will add in the future. If you plan on integrating with an accounting system that Corecon works with, you'll want to make sure you select the correct one here. Intuit QuickBooks is Intuit QuickBooks Pro Premier or Enterprise. Intuit QuickBooks Online is QuickBooks Online Plus. There's also currently integration with Xero and SAP Business One. Sage 50 Canada users should select Sage Simply Accounting and click Save. The next option is license and add-on information. Most of this information will be set through Corecon's subscriptions. If you need additional add-ons or if something wasn't set up correctly, email billing@corecon.com for any changes. You can also see from this page the number of standard users and also how much of your storage has been used so far. Next to Global Settings. First is the default currency. This will be the default when adding a lead or project, but that can also be changed at the lead or project level after it's saved. The fiscal year start setting will affect how transactions will be filtered to show current and previous year results. The transaction security locking has three options. There's no locking. There's locked transactions where administrators can unlock, and then there's lock exported transactions. If you're integrating with an accounting software, Corecon recommends this third option. There's also rounding settings. The quantity you see next to the estimate rounding and transaction rounding are the number of decimal places. The unit price fields on estimate line items and project financial transactions can be out to 4 decimal places. However, when the system calculates subtotal, tax, and total, rounding will be based on these settings. Typically, both settings are set to 2. The algorithm Corecon uses for rounding is Banker's rounding. That algorithm is also used by most major accounting engines. Remember that if you've made changes to this page, to click the Save button. Next, down to Security Settings. You do have options when setting password policies, and under the Corecon security roles, Corecon has provided you a well thought out list of security roles. It's important to note that administrator and financial administrator are the only security roles that can see wage rates. You can also see how these original or default security roles were set up by clicking on that security role. You can see the options that were already pre-selected for you. These are locked. However, you do have the option to click Add, and when you do, copy an existing security role rename it, and then you can make changes to that security role as needed. Next, we'll go to users. There are 3 types of users. There's a standard user, a time and expense user, also called a field user, which it's very limited in the features they can use, and there's Team Link users. Team Link users are not shown on this page. They'll be covered in separate videos under Team Link Portal. To add new users, click the Add button. You'll have the option to add a new user from an existing employee by copying, or you can also add a new user and a new employee at the same time. It's very important that all users in Corecon have a legitimate email address. Corecon has a lot of correspondence features that rely on that. You should avoid duplicating email addresses between users. When you add a new user, Corecon gives you the opportunity to send that information to the employee if an email was provided. Corecon will generate a temporary password that the user can change once they've logged in for the first time. Please remind your users to log in to Corecon's cloud-based solution for the first time only, and then after that, if needed, log into Corecon Mobile. Each user can change his or her own password. The administrator can add users, modify standard and Team Link security roles, and set passwords as well. Remember that the Team Link portal users are strictly for people outside the organization, such as your clients, customers, project owners, architects, engineers, vendors, suppliers, and subcontractors. Your users would usually be employees of your own organization. The time and expense security role cannot be modified and has a separate monthly pricing. It is also applicable to individual license plans only. The next feature in company settings is numbering. Corecon has already established default numbering for all of the items available. However, these can be customized to your company's needs. For example, if you go to Prime Contract, you have the option to set a 3-digit code that is project dependent, one where the project number precedes the 3-digit code, a 5-digit code which is project dependent, one where the project number is followed by a 5-digit code, a 5-digit code that is globally unique, meaning it is not project specific, and a 7-digit code that's globally unique. We do encourage you to consider these carefully and recommend that when selecting numbering settings, to try to do so consistently across all features. If you make changes, remember to click Save. The last item is payment terms. Corecon has provided default payment terms such as net 15, net 30, net 60, and net 90. The spelling, capitalization, and spacing is very important. If Corecon recognizes the payment term, it will calculate due dates for you. There are additional payment terms that may not appear on your payment terms page. By going to the help article on that subject, you'll see additional means of entering payment terms for other calculation types. And back to the profile view. Remember that there are separate videos on setting your logo, on the taxation settings, and on cost code settings. If you'd like to know more about the information in this training video, we encourage you to go to the knowledge base. Under Corecon Browser Solution, go to Settings. The information covered in this training video are also addressed in these knowledge base articles under Company Settings.